Well, folks, you just heard a track from the fantastic Red Butler, and joining me on the line now is guitarist Alex Butler. Welcome to Rockposer Roulette.
Hello. Hiya.
Well, I'll start off by congratulating you for obviously winning the UK Blues Challenge. I mean, that's a great achievement.
Thank you very much. Yes, we still can't really believe that we've won it at the moment. It's kind of surreal.
So, are you having a mixture of nervousness and looking forward to, obviously, you now represent the UK in the European Blues Challenge, which I believe is, off the top of my head, the sixth one now.
Yeah, I believe it is. Yes, it's a strange feeling because we did so much work leading up to the actual Blues Challenge, the UK Blues Challenge. We were very surprised and honoured to have won it. So it hasn't really hit us yet that we've got another stage to go, I don't think. We've got a lot on at the moment as well. So we're kind of getting swamped by a lot of people saying well done and stuff, but it doesn't really feel like it's happened. It's a really weird situation. So as to whether we feel nervous for Europe, probably will do in about 2 months, something like that, yeah.
Well, it's got to be said, obviously the blues scene is incredibly healthy in Europe at the moment, so which is obviously a fantastic thing. So I'm guessing the competition is going to be quite tough when you get out there.
Yeah, we've fortunately had a lot of great advice from a lot of people who have been before, and people who have competed before, and they're all saying things like, your energy is going to be the biggest selling point for you out there, because the band that won it last year was very energetic, and there's a history of bands that have a really good stage presence. So yeah, I think it's going to be a very tough competition, but then we do have a lot of good advice, so hopefully we can really stock up on that before we go out there.
Well, obviously, you guys, being another great young British blues band, which are, if anything, as I've said to quite a few people, guys like yourselves are dragging blues out of this old sort of fuddy-duddy, 50-year-old blokes with a pint of bitter sort of atmosphere, and bringing a lot more sort of young people into what is, quite a widespread genre at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's very much something we're aware of. Anyone that talks to us knows that we're trying to get some younger people involved in what we're doing as well, in the audience side of things. And it's blues is such a funny thing, isn't it? How people can think it's going to be one thing, and yet it actually covers so many different kind of paths and channels.
Absolutely. Well, let's go into, obviously, for those people who are not familiar maybe so well with your band, let's go into, obviously, how you guys came about and how you all joined up into what is, a fantastic band.
Well, it started when I was at college. I was in a classic rock covers band. We used to play pubs and venues around East Sussex, and I decided I wanted to take it a bit more seriously, and I was always into blues music. So there was a promoter called Clive Rawlings that really pushed me to do it as well, along with a few other people. And from there, I just started thinking about maybe I could get a band together, maybe this could work. We put a few adverts out, and before we knew it, we had a lot of people wanting to join the band. I already had a drummer that I'd work, Charlie, that I'd worked with.
Right.
And yeah, I like working with people that I've worked with before, like Charlie and stuff. But then I had a bass player from college that we got on well with, who's since changed. And a singer, we actually had a different singer to start with as well. So it's quite a confusing tale of the band.
Well, obviously, Jane Pearce, for those of you who are not aware, is a fantastic vocalist. Obviously, those of you would have heard it on the track starting into this intro. What a great voice for someone, again, who is, relatively young and really not that well established in the genre yet.
Yeah, we're very lucky with Jane. She's got a very powerful voice that has a lot of soul in it. Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that can sometimes be lacking in female blues singers, is sometimes they just become too powerful.
Absolutely.
Whereas Jane has that ability to take it down and really speak to the audience a bit more rather than, just shout at them, which can often happen. We've been really lucky. She has quite a wide range of influences as well. As we all do, which is, I think, another really healthy thing for any musician to have.
Well, I mean, if there's one thing I think that showcases her abilities for me, obviously on the Freedom Band album, would have to be the fantastic and slightly different cover version, of course, of "Shaking All Over."
Yeah, that's an interesting song, that, because A lot of people really, really love it, but then some say it's like a Marmite track, and then you either love it or
Really?
hate it. Which we've only had that once or twice, fortunately. But so many people really like that song, and yeah, her voice is really good for that song because of the way we've done it. It lifts it out of the great version by Johnny Kidd and into something slightly different, which really seems to go down well live.
Absolutely. Well, going forward with the band, obviously, Freedom Bound has been out since last year. What do you guys? Are you working on a new release now, or are you busy concentrating on other things?
No, we are working on a new release. We're actually in the middle of writing.
Okay.
We've got quite a lot of catalogue ready for the next album, which is being recorded in January. So yeah, it's a very exciting time for the band because we've done so many gigs. We've done quite a few tours and stuff now as well. We can really draw from our experiences on the road and our time together and really try and put something together in terms of a new album. It's a really exciting time, certainly.
How do you find it venue-wise in the UK? It seems to be sort of mixed blessings. Some bands seem to do rather well and find plenty of venues, and other bands really seem to struggle these days.
Well, we were very lucky because we were working with Stephen Stanley from Solid Entertainment as most of the tours, and he's been really good at finding us venues that seem to really get into their music. But yeah, you're right, though, it is very mixed. Even if you've got a busy audience, sometimes you can think, oh yeah, we're going to sell some merchandise this evening. The fans will go wild and stuff, but you really won't sell that much. And then other nights, it's a quiet night on the floor and you'll sell loads. It's a crazy one. You just can't tell.
It always staggers me. I mean, I don't go to as many gigs as I used to. I mean, I generally go to, I say a regular venue would be the Beaverwood, obviously, Pete Feenstra's,
oh yeah,
shall we say, watering hole amongst two. But it always amazes me. I can never work out what the audience is going to be like there. You think certain bands, it's going to be heaving, and other bands maybe not so. And in fact, it's exactly the reverse.
Yeah, I don't think there's any kind of equation that can work out what's going to be good or bad in terms of audience turnout, unless obviously you have a really established act in. But it's so funny. Some of the venues we were doing on the tour with Lawrence, we were convinced that this was going to be a slightly quieter night, and of course that would just play against us, and we'd have loads and loads of people there. So you really can't tell. As you say, it's a very fickle game.
Well, obviously, Lawrence Jones is doing incredibly well at the moment himself. Was fortunate to see him again this year when he was supporting Kenny Wayne Shepherd. And again, another person like yourselves who's really at the forefront of pushing young British blues artists. Yeah,
I think Lawrence is onto a really good thing. I really like his sound and his style, and it was a real pleasure being on the road with him. And it's really nice to be playing with other musicians of our kind of age on the road, and seeing that this could be where it's going, and it's quite exciting. It was a great tour with him. He's got a great band as well. Obviously, Roger and Miri on bass and drums. That's quite a lineup he's got behind him.
Absolutely. If you're going to pick a band or artist to tour with, is there anyone in particular would spring to mind? If you could just sort of wave a wand and say, right, we'd love to be on that tour.
What, live, presumably, I guess. Well, one of the tours actually that I enjoyed most that I'd like to do again was with Billy Walton.
Right.
I don't know if you come across them. I'm sure you have.
Yes, indeed.
Just an incredible live act. They have so much fun on stage. I think that would, just in pure fun terms, I'd love to do that one again. But in terms of bigger acts and stuff, I'd really like to tour with Tedeschi Trucks. I saw them last weekend or the weekend before and was blown away by them. So I think I'd like to do that just to learn from them musically. And also Carlos Santana. I've always been a huge fan of his, so I think that would be a second one for me to tour with him.
Never had the chance to see Santana, unfortunately. That's he's one of those artists which I don't like everything he's done, but the stuff I do like, I absolutely adore, if that makes sense.
Yeah, entirely. He's had a very mixed career because he's always been one of these artists to try and do stuff with other people. So he's always been like a guest artist or had guest artists in, and I'm not always so keen on that. But then, his performances at Woodstock and stuff like that, I just think are amazing.
And of course,
I think it was probably the best gig I've ever been to, Santana.
Of course, he did that. Well, again, probably a Marmite release was that covers album he released. Was it? It must be about 2 or 3 years ago now, which was which was a bit bizarre. Though to be honest, I must admit I did like 2 or 3 of the tracks on it.
Was that the Guitar Heroes one?
It was, oh, blind. Now you caught me on the hop. I'm going to try and think the name of it now. He just really sort of mixed up some pretty well-known tracks by well-known artists, and I'm now thinking desperately what the name of the album is. Yeah. No doubt people are shouting at the speakers, "You idiot! It's so and so."
There was things like "Back in Black" and "While My Guitar."
That's it. Yes, that's the one. Yes, indeed.
The Guitar Heroes one. Yeah. I quite like some of that stuff on the album, but then I think Santana has such a unique sound. I'm not always sure why he tries to do things like that. I'd far rather hear some of his own compositions, you know.
Absolutely. Well, Alex, it's been an absolute treat having you on the show. All I can say is wish you guys all the best, and fingers crossed success, obviously, in the European Blues Challenge. It'll be great to bring you all back to, well, let's face it, the country that's probably done the most for the blues in probably the last 40-odd years. So I think we deserve to have it sitting on our mantelpiece.
Well, we were having a chat about that the other day, how, it is a little bit of pressure, obviously, representing England, but it's also a huge pressure representing a country that has, as you say, done arguably more than any other European country ever for the blues industry. So, yeah, on that note.
Alex, thanks very much indeed.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you. Bye.